What's up? I'm back. It did took me a while, but yeah. How is everybody doing? Sorry for all the wait. I know it. I had something that I needed to set up, and oh wait, actually, I'll be right back again. Okay, that was unorthodox, but I'm back for real now. I know today's stream, like I'm trying to do this more frequently, and there's a lot of things to set up. So just bear with me as we get about this. Also, this month is Black History Month, and honestly, I feel like as a creator about urban planning, I can't not talk about how urban planning has been gatekeeping and has been abandoning Black communities and has affected Black communities in a very negative way. Oh yeah, we're gonna touch on that NIMBY rails later if we got time. But but basically, like, I think I should prepare a script of what I want to talk about. I'm usually not good at doing live education video like this, but just bear with me. Like, take a look at, this is the city of Atlanta with the interstate I-20, and I just learned that like this whole interchange over here, man, that's like, it's it's just ugly. It's just ugly to see that like the central core of the city is surrounded by this highway, and I'm pretty sure like at one point in time these communities are connected, and like this every, yeah, all of these communities as well, pretty sure that like at one point they are connected, they are well connected together. um, and these highways have torn the communities apart. I think like a lot of us in here, like a lot of urbanists, we hate highways, we hate car dependent infrastructures. That's for sure, because of, but mainly because like mainly we despise them is because the car dependency, because of like the car centric designs and like the general consensus of um yeah, the general consensus of urban planning content creator focusing on like, yeah, train good, car bad, like everything car related is bad. But I'm not really sure like how many of us are aware of how these highways tear communities apart. It's almost like you hate highways because it promotes car dependency. I hate highways because it relocate marginalized people. We are not the same. And I think it's a pretty important part of urban planning history that all of us should be aware of. Well, my housemate is singing happy birthday. I hope you, yeah. um, yeah, like, I think it's not just Atlanta, but every US city that is surrounded by, um, that has interstate, it's pretty, it's pretty common to see like highways coming straight into downtown, serving the wealthy people, serving like the suburban wealthy commuters. Like you see how sprawl they are over here, and like heading to downtown for work. Um, I think we all know about Robert Moses, right? Robert Moses is the guy who, yeah, we can blame all of our issues on Robert Moses. But generally saying that urban planning has historically harmed black communities. It has harmed marginalized communities in general, but the harm that it did to black communities is definitely the most devastating, to say the least. Um, oh wow, this is New Orleans? Fun fact, I've actually like never taken a look at the street view of New Orleans. I think like nowadays, what the hell is this? What the hell is this? Oh my god. What the actual hell is this? But yeah, like back to the story about like these highways, they not only like relocate black communities and force marginalized peoples outside of their homes and got relocated to multiple different locations. Um, they generally like still harm communities to this day. They still harm marginalized communities to this day, and I, as a person of color, I sometimes feel that it feels like sometimes it feel like to me that planning feels so gatekeeping, and as as a person of color who is in the planning field, sometimes I have a feeling that I am being a pawn for tokenism, for like like those diversity standards uh, of planning, which makes me actually feel very sad. Like we cannot have meaningful planning work, planning conversations, if the most marginalized groups of our society is left out from this. And I can tell this very well, like even though like I don't have that much experience like being a planner yet, but I can tell that like the way that a lot of us the way that we're doing public engagement at the moment, it's really um I don't know, it's really um how do I say this, it's really like gatekeeping. I can't find another word that is synonym of this, but basically it's like it feels like it still has its biases and targets, even though it's only like even though like we know that like the face value always talks about, oh yeah, like inclusivity, inclusion, diversity, and accessibility, but meaningfully we are not talking about that. Like meaningfully, like the way that communities are engaged um, aren't focusing on that, aren't highlighting that. Like, for example, have you ever seen like public engagement events that happen at late night, um, like after hours of city hall, um, and a lot of people who wants to participate in such engagement events, they but they don't have a car and they live in a car dependent place, so they need to use transit to get to the engagement event. But because transit is so infrequent, um, it restricts them from attending like the entire sessions. Like they may have to leave early because their last bus might depart before the end of the sessions, or they don't want to wait like an hour long after the engagement session to go home. um, which is really sad. Like, and I hope that we're thinking about that when we're designing engagement sessions and designing engagement events. Like, one thing I've learned recently is that like there's the pre-engagement preparation for that, and I really hope that like when we're doing in public engagement, we think about this. We think about like how to do meaningful engagement in a way that the most marginalized groups of our society can also participate in that. What the heck is this? So I just discovered that like Houston is so huge as a city. What is that flashing? I don't know what's happening. But yeah, Houston is so huge as a city, but the transit it has is, oh wow. I do want to look up the population. Houston population. It's 2.3 million. Yeah. Oh, there's a Houston in Canada? Wait, no way. No way. There's a district municipality of Houston in British Columbia. Population of 3,052. Okay, I got sidetracked. But back to the story about public engagement. Yeah, like, and then like we also have to consider that like if public engagement events happens during the daytime, then a lot of people cannot I hate that. This is the Gulf of Mexico, okay? Like, dead naming is not okay unless it is about X. Twitter, number one, Twitter, and number two, Gulf of Mexico. But yeah, like back to the story about public engagement in general. If it happens during the day, then a lot of people who have to work, they have to work, and they only get paid minimum wage. They live paycheck to paycheck. They cannot miss work to attend a public engagement session. So they lose the opportunity to participate. And we also have to consider that. We have to consider like in what ways that we're delivering the information, like in person, online, emails, surveys, but also like the questions. Are the questions like meaningful to them? Are the questions like uneasy and understandable to them? I'll get back to this later, but we was still focusing on the delivery at the moment. And I think like it's really important to have like some sort of support system that and this is where like the importance of education also weighs in. Yeah, like educating not just on like the terms and definitions of the projects that you engaging people on, but also like on like how to use, like how to reach places. I have worked as an event planner person, and I cannot stress how many times like how like when I collaborate with other people at venues and they straight up just don't mention like any accessibility information. Yeah, like including like instructions on how to get to the place and instructions on like accessibility guidelines for the place is like the number one easiest thing that you can do to provide accessibility, to make your event more inclusive and more accessible, at least like when you got the information about accessibility like that, people have a visualization of, oh yeah, this event is this accessible in this way. I can reach this place at this time using this bus. Yeah. Yeah, we're pretty quiet today. um, I recommend for Black History Month, I would recommend this series of documentaries. Yeah, anti-black racism in Canadian city planning. This whole series have three parts. This whole series have three parts. Um, I've been binging this since, yeah, since last year when it come out. Um, it's a really good series. It's really eye-opening um, if you are new to urban planning. I would highly recommend you to watch this series. It highlights like the um, yeah, like the ongoing structural racism that is still happening in communities. I cannot play it right now because of copyright reasons, but yeah, digging up the roots, anti-black racism. It's basically the series of anti-black racism in Canadian city planning by School of Cities. Yeah, and like to this day, like black communities, because of the unfair treatment that they have faced, I think the least we could do as the general population is organizing mutual aids, supporting the local black community, supporting local black businesses. Find one in your community. Like I'm pretty sure there's a lots out there. Um, and yeah, like they deserve your support. Like they deserve the community and the local support. So check out like a black business to support this month. Actually, not just this month, but every month. Next thing you could do is pay black educators. Like find, look up for black educators, especially if you're in the field of urban planning. Look up creators who talk about black communities or like black creators. I think like there's a really good account that I follow on my Instagram. It's called Black Urbanist. Yeah, she offers a very diverse, a very black centered perspective on planning. I think I also follow Shishi Rose, which is another creator who talks a lot about accessibility and yeah, accessibility justice, disability justice. Because like all of these issues are not mutually exclusive. They are all tied together and they are directly related to planning. Yeah, planning is not a mutually exclusive topic. You cannot just like, yeah, I'm gonna build this road, I'm gonna build this house, I'm gonna build this transit services, and totally ignore the people who will be relying on it. And the people, because the people will live in communities that are very diverse. Um, and communities have a lot of people, we basically have to consider that the needs of a 5-year-old child met, the needs of an 80-year-old man, 80-year-old woman, non-binaries met. Other yeah, like do people of like different from different backgrounds feel included? They feel safe and they feel welcomed in that design that we made. So this is what I love about planning is this is what I like about urban planning is how interdisciplinary it is. But it's also something that I despise. I think the reason why I despise is because a lot of people are still not aware of this and thinking that like urban planning is just a single issue. But unfortunately, it is not. Um, yeah, and if you find some good black educators, like I was saying earlier, yeah, find out if they need support. Like, support them. Like, subscribe, watch their videos. And if they do have like any links that they need, like donations or like they campaigning for other community members, help those campaigns out. It doesn't hurt. It doesn't hurt to support them. It doesn't hurt to support people. Um, and I know that like in this economy when a lot of us are living paycheck to paycheck, that is not possible for some of us. But having any sort of support that you can is already appreciated. And also like like read up about history of urban planning and history of planning and the linkage between urban planning and the segregation of black and marginalized communities. Um, because like it's not we cannot move forward we cannot move forward to like the innovations and like the future of planning without mentioning the past, without acknowledging the past, what happened. There's a very good quote that I learned recently that we keep on repeating history is because we never learn from history. And so, do we want to keep people like separated from one another? Like, do we still want to we still want to design places that is not accessible, that is segregated, that gatekeep people? No, right? So that's why it's really important to learn, and especially like during Black History Month, you start something during this month and you build that momentum to keep on doing that throughout the other months of the year, because Black History Month is not just a month. It's the actions that you take during this month has to be carried out like continuously. And I think like one last thing is that don't forget about the multi-marginalized black folks, like trans black people, disabled black people. Yeah, like support them if you can. If you're like on social media, there's lots of like um, Venmo, PayPal, Cash App kind of campaigns out there. I'm not from the US, so I don't know what they are. I just know that like in Canada we have a thing called e-transfer. That's how you send money like digitally to people. But apparently that's not a thing in the US. Can somebody confirm that? Yeah, I'm gonna go take a look at the layouts of some cities in Africa. Oh man, like there's also like lots of like grid like cities. So this is the city of Lagos. City of Lagos in Nigeria. Fun fact, Nigeria is projected to be to surpass the US population at one point in the future. Ooh, the train station. I think this is like an intercity train station that they have. Oshodi Terminal. Oh man, are they parked cars, or are these parked cars, or are these like, looks pretty chaotic. It's a highway. I think like I want to learn more about cities in Africa, actually, like the layout of cities in Africa, and also like the villages, especially like the villages and neighborhoods in African countries. However, like a lot of people on the internet told me that like it's very hard to learn about that the because like many African countries were colonized, and therefore like the layout of the cities that they have, like we're seeing today, is based on like the constructions of the colonizers, of the European settlers and colonizers, of the European colonizers. I don't and I have not been able to find a source that verify this, so but I am still trying to learn about that. I just wish there's street view in here so that I can see. But looks like these houses are like really dense. And like all the house seems to share a same color of roof. It also like feels like it also feels like the roads here are like dirt roads. Oh, I went back to the terminal by accident. Oh, okay. When you toggle Google Street View, like you can also see like the difference, like the coverage. I mean, like, let's zoom to like the whole world. Like you see, uh, like the access to Google Street View also highlights. I think it also highlights the countries. Like, wells. I don't know like what's the word to use here, but like, cause like I have the impression of like the more wealthy a country is, like, then the better. Like the more tendency that Google Street View is gonna visit it. I don't know, but like yeah, like this city in Senegal here, the city Dakar in Senegal has street views. Like I think and it has pretty good coverage of street view as well. Like I feel like every corner has street view. Oh, they have scooters. It's like actually very common in countries like Taiwan or Vietnam or the Philippines or Indonesia. I think the correct word is not scooter but rather mopeds. Yeah, mopeds. Interesting. It like looks like, oh wow, this is like a gravel, like feels like a back alley, but it's actually a street. You see, like I really like this idea of like houses being so close to one another like this. Oh no. Oops. I think my Google Map just stopped responding. Okay, intermission. We'll be right back. Okay, we're back. I don't know what happened. Yeah. Anyways, wait, is this an abandoned? Oh no, it's not. Actually, it's not abandoned. But wow, like look at all these communities like develop way so close to the airport. Like you can almost see like housing by the airport, not too far from the airport. Just kind of crazy. And this is, and like the cemetery, it's so huge. Oh, this is like a constructing neighborhood. Oh yeah, I almost forgot like one more thing that I was saying about um, public engagement in black communities. Without the participation of marginalized people, things, and if we proceed with the change, if we proceed with the plan that we're working on without properly consulting them, it's basically like we're doing it without their consent. And because they are also like a part of the community, this is actually really dangerous. You are actually taking away their participation. So you cannot rush a process. Oh, this is like a market street. You cannot like rush the process. Um, you cannot rush the process and abandon community members just because like you're like, oh yeah, like I'm gonna do this like quickly and then like follow the timeline. But sometimes like it just needs more time. Like a lot of projects have been like constantly reviewed and reviewed over and over again just because like a lot of communities have opinions on that. I love these kind of markets. It's kind of like reminded me of like many Asian countries actually. Like yeah, a lot of Asian countries actually have these they call it like fresh markets like this because yeah, like literally it's fresh and it's the produce are usually local, like from the local growers and farmers. Oh wow, we stumbled upon another market. And like you see, I like the idea of using the sidewalk, having like really wide sidewalk, and then you also have like kiosk of street vendors like this on the street. It's like at a very human scale, you know. And then like people can like just walk around. Oh no, there's this car parking on the street, but people can just like walk around, um, and yeah, like see the stores. And like I think it also enhances the social cohesion of the community. There's a lot of markets like this in even like Taiwan or like China or Vietnam and the Philippines. Oh, what is this? Like when you zoom out, it looks like waves of streets, but no, it's not. It's oh yeah, it's actually like rural roads. Are they like mountainous? Like I wish there's like a terrain layer in here. Let's take a look at the yeah. Oh wow. Oh wow. So it's actually like the mountain area. Wow. You see, like back to the point that I was saying earlier about African cities and communities, like I would really want to learn more. So if you have any resources, please send them my way. I would love to see. Like, um, yeah, like it's kind of sad that our current planning education is focusing like really heavily on just European planning and American planning. It's, you know, which, if you think about it, it's basically white centric planning. It's like, because like European is, I mean, dominant by Caucasian communities, and North America is like where the settlers, the Caucasian settlers from Europe, they came and they built the settlement, which are the cities and communities and towns that we're having today here on this continent. I also want to learn more about like South American communities too. Um, yeah, like fun fact, bus rapid transit is an invention of South America. I think, if I'm not mistaken, It's from Colombia. It's from the city of Bogota, Colombia. First city in the world to have bus rapid transit. And yet, if you toggle the transit layer, yeah, it's already toggled. It's not even showing. It's not even showing up here by Google, which is, yeah, very sad. Very sad that birthplace of bus rapid transit does not even get recognized on a global map. Okay, but that is my take and some resources that I wanted to share, some thoughts that I wanted to share. About Black History Month and urban planning. We can talk more about urban planning in a little bit. We can have like another intermission while I figure out what to do next. But stay tuned, like I'm not leaving the stream yet. I have things that I still want to say, but I also want to have other things to do in the background to keep entertaining y'all while keeping y'all focused. Is it that hard for Gen Z to focus now? I'm just kidding. Should not be using Gen Z as like a generic word, but overall, yeah, it's yeah. I kind of want to like seek something else to do in the background as well, while also talking about this. If you would like, I could also like recommend another film on Netflix that I was watching. It talks more about gentrification, and it's right here in Toronto, Canada. It's the movie called, it's a documentary. No, I think it's a documentary actually. It's a documentary called There Is No Place Like This Place, Any Place. Anyways, I will see you in a bit. Okay, I am back again with Bus Simulator. I figured that like the reason why I turn on this game is more because of the like background noises that I want to have in my video, and I don't really have a background music embedded in at the moment. But yeah, let's continue talking about Black History Month, Black community, the impacts of urban planning.
It was tough convincing the residents of Eclipse Bay that having a transport system
Oh yeah,
is a good thing.
do remember.
Good news, our patience has paid off. They've told their friends in
I
Lakeside View
personally
about
feel
our
like
bus routes.
during that
the
time
residents of
it
Lakeside
was
View have now actually been in touch to
first
ask
time
about
in
new routes. Isn't that great?
years. I think like first time since the civil rights movement that we saw such unity from community members. Like
You know, they're called turn signals because you use them to signal when you are about to make a turn.
and I think like we need that momentum back in like our social movement right now, especially like with the rise of authoritarianism at the moment, because I think
Do I have a valid
everybody
ticket?
here should know the fact that we cannot just nicely ask for our rights, especially like with the stories of marginalized communities.
Oh, hey.
Like everything that we had, every privileges that we're enjoying, it all came from social movement. It all came from like tireless
Well,
fighting.
be meeting him
It's
tomorrow.
I do have a post on my Instagram that talked about this, where I say changes happen on the streets before they happen on the policies. Because yeah, like before things happen, actually like can actually be passed as policies, like they usually come in forms of protests and public education. And where does that happen? On the street. I took a sociology class not so long ago, and we talked about this. Like, I feel like we are taking it for granted what we got and what our ancestors had to fight for in order to get here. And I think like as urban planners is really important, again, about not just the inclusivity but also like we cannot like, I understand that like planning means you have to respect people's opinions, but you also have to have your own stance. You cannot be like a fence hopper, which is in this case a centrist. You can't just like, oh yeah, I'm neutral, I root for both sides, or like some sort of fence hopping rhetoric like that. You have to take a stance. You have to have your own stance. I know a lot of people will not like that idea that I just say, but you have to have a solid and a firm stance about what you want to achieve and defend that stance. And usually that stance should start from the care that you have for the community, like what you want, some meaningful changes that you want for the community that actually like will change their lives. And planning is sadly a very political process. Planning is political. Actually, everything is political. But I know that like planning means you have to work with like the politicians, the policymakers, and sometimes things don't go the way that we want to go just because we have some very not so good politicians, to say the least. But the key thing is here that we have to keep our stance. we have to like shoot for above and beyond rather than just trying to meet some checklists and status quo.
Oh no, oh no, no, oh no, excuse me, can you let me out?
And like the status quo or like all of those standards, it changes every time as society progresses. Like I said yesterday, that planning is humans are designed to adapt to new changes, and so why are we keep following like those old standards, like even like written or unwritten standards out there, when it's no longer relevant? Right? And so like we as humans, we can change that. We can definitely like change that. A better world, a new world, a different world is possible. And to have that difference, we need a lot of advocacy, we need a lot of community activism, we need a lot of people educating other people and educating themselves about the cause. It's not fine. And yeah, it's like that meme of like this is fine, but like it's actually not fine and you have a responsibility to act. Kind of like really true in this case. That like, yeah, you have to take a stance, you have to have your own opinions. You can't just be a fence hopper. It's kind of funny that like I know I myself am pretty much of a people pleaser, but when it comes to opinions about planning, I don't mind pissing other people off, because I know that I have a stance and I have to keep it.
People always look at me strange when I walk my cat.
Yeah, so that is just my bit that I want to talk about regarding that social movement and having your own opinions. Also, like, while we're on the topic of transit, I especially don't like it when there's like a transit fare hike and there's opposition to the fare hike, but then there's the opposition to that opposition of the rhetoric of then how the community is gonna then how is that transit service gonna function. Like, you obviously know that transit services don't make money from just the fare revenue, right? I think like it only makes about maybe 20% up to 30% of its revenue. It's from ticket sales. The other 70% all came from property tax and funding from the city. And raising transit fare is again like another form of gatekeeping community members, especially marginalized community members. Like, I know that we have a lot of cities have those low fare or like low income fare program, but personally I feel like if we keep the transit services like affordable from the start, then definitely like that is already like the natural way to build the build the ridership up and like make transit actually like an accessible and affordable service that people want to like meaningfully use. Can you explain more on the cross-subsidized part? I want to learn more about that. Like, is that like subsidized by multiple levels of government? You mean? Yeah, and I think like I did mention about like the low income support or like accessible transit pass programs in my video about transit ticketing. You can go watch that again. But I did mention in that video that like, is that low income pass or like that accessibility transit pass actually accessible if it's only available at one single location? Like, you have to go all the way to downtown, or like you have to go all the way to like a transit terminal at this special location and apply for that pass, and like bringing all like your documents with you, and then like which, what the hell? Yeah, which costs money, like costs a lot of like time as well, like because like you have to go places, and after that you have to wait until a few days later to go pick up your ticket, and you have to redo this process, like keep on redoing this process. Is it like really meaningfully accessible if we're doing it that way? Like, I know that like there's a lot of communities also offer the options of virtual application, but the thing with virtual appointments, like applications like this, is that you have to provide digital literacy courses for people, or like at least like computers, in case that they don't have the means to access that. This is why I really love public libraries. Public libraries are the GOAT of cities. But I think like I will save the topic about public libraries for another stream. It's so funny that like in my videos I talk about, I'll save that topic for another day. Like I save that topic for another video. And now like on my live stream I'm saying the same thing. Oh, profits turn from development of land. Yeah. I think that's a good incentive too. Like you take the profits that you earn from like this one sector and you reinvest that. Yeah, reinvest that in the community, like reinvest that in different services. You reinvest that in
Right on time.
reinvest that in public services, public infrastructures, and I don't know like when people will understand, like when the major population can understand this, but public infrastructure does not have to make a profit.
May I have a ticket, please?
It's meant to be served by the public, like serve the public, and it can derive like the revenues and the profits of public infrastructure. It's basically a stable safe, affordable and accessible community that benefits everybody.
I'm happy. The weather is okay. No one can tell me what to do today.
Yeah, exactly. Transit is built to serve journey. Yeah, it's not to turn profits, because I mean like all those highways out there don't even make a profit, yet people still drive on them. It's so normalized that like people are using those free free highways all the time, and yet nobody complain about that. Yet nobody's talk about like, oh yeah, like these highways don't make a profit. And I think like yeah, like I think like on average in Canada, like an average car in Canada only has, I think like 1.2 passengers per car. That is, yeah, the average of a Canadian car only transports 1.2 persons.
I'm afraid I'm getting sick.
I think like the reason why people think that like they are paying for the highways is because of their property tax, but hey, guess what? The property tax also pays for transit services too. And I think it's like it's just a huge myth about like renters don't pay property tax, don't pay taxes to the city.
My dog loves swimming and then running onto my dry towel and rolling all over it.
Yeah, wait until he realizes that like the cars are actually clogging the streets. I think like I saw news article, no, like a CBC News video suggested to me about like Toronto is looking to Seattle to solve gridlock of traffic, and I was like, well, the simple solution, you have a very simple solution out there that you already had, the streetcars. You just have to speed it up. You just have to make sure that like
There are no castles near here, so there's no way you could hiking.
yeah, just let the streetcars have its right of way. Just make it to be like faster than the cars. Then yeah, like you will solve that gridlock.
You know what this city's missing? A nice casino.
Did I just hear like somebody was saying a casino in the city? No way. This game is just no. And that's what you get for running the red light, bruh. Bro, I got the right of way, man. I got the right of way. Like the light was. I had the green
I wish
light.
I could just stay on the bus and enjoy the view.
I think that this game really needs to like work on the traffic AI to make them not randomly make turns like this, but in the meantime it also reflects the true situation of drivers, of real life drivers. And yeah, like a lot of drivers run the red lights all the time. And I think like there's another issue with like right turn on red. I think like a lot of YouTube channel, like a lot of creator mentioned this already. Right turn on red, it's just so dangerous. It's deadly actually. Like when I was a kid, I thought that like right turn on red was like, oh yeah, convenient, cause like I can like turn right while waiting at the red light. But no, like now I grow up and then like I actually realize like how dangerous it is. Yeah, it's honestly like right turn on red is like sacrificing the safety for a few seconds of being faster, of like, yeah, that's what right turn on red feels like to me.
Red needs
Oh
stop.
shit. We were just talking about right on red and I actually ran a red light. Oops. Oopsies. Did not mean to do that. But yeah, right on red is really dangerous. And I think like we should get rid of right on red like entirely. For real, like there's no reason to keep right on red. I'm just like looking at the mission right now. Okay, so the mission is to create a route between Lakeside View and Eclipse Bay. Yeah, like not many countries have right turn on red. Like, I mean, even if they do, then that would be like at highways when there's like actual slip lanes and it's not interfering with and when it's not interfering with the traffic flow. Because right turn on red is, yeah, should not exist. Period. End of story. What rule is that? I know, I learned about the hook turn in Melbourne. I think it's like a Melbourne only thing, right? But who's taking the right turn has to yield. Yeah. Oh yeah, interesting. I mean, that's the rule of right turning in like, but this is only applicable at stop four-way, and stop four-way is another stupid thing about designs, like intersection designs in Canada and the US, is that like it's a lazy design, to say the least. It slaps a stop sign there. Say but at the stop four-way, a car turning left has to yield to both car going straight and car turning right. But when I learned about the hook turn, it's actually like a really interesting thing as well, because like apparently they have to do that with the you have to turn left to turn right. I don't know, like it's the difference in driving direction. It's really confusing me right now. But if I remember correctly, it's like that. Damn, this transit map is getting dense. Okay, but back to the idea of stop four-way. It's just like a really lazy design in my opinion. Like just gonna buy 2 of these buses and then assign it to this new route. But
Hi, boss. Would you like to take over?
oh wait, I have to like set up the layover time for this route first. What a shame, like if I don't do that. Oh wow, every 28 minutes for a bus. You think that I should need to buy one more bus to make this route more frequent? I'm all in for better transit frequency, and I think they deserve it. And like more frequent transit also helps with like in the long run with like transit investment. Yeah, like yeah, I think it's like a hand-in-hand duo of like frequent transit and urban development, dense urban development. There we go. Now we have a bus coming for 15 minutes during regular time and every 9 minutes. Yeah, I agree.
Sure thing. Sweet. I haven't seen this bus around before. Wow, that's a nice bus.
Yeah, low density is really inconvenient, like, because like it makes everything like so far apart from each other,
Okay, see you.
and so it just, yeah, almost impossible
Really?
to
I won? Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh.
to get anywhere without a car. I think like
Do you know anything
we
about
need
the
to
Jazz Festival?
re-promote the idea of like electric vehicles is more than just e-bike. It's more than just electric cars and electric buses, but also like electric bikes as well. I think like e-bike is gonna be the revolutionary vehicle of the future. But like,
Oh, I forgot to warn
I feel
my
like
friends.
it's not that revolutionary if it's like not accessible to the general public. Again, because like the theme of this video, this live stream tonight, we're talking about accessibility and marginalized community and Black History Month. So I want to focus on like the accessibility and yeah, accessibility justice. What do you know about that? What do you all know about that? Or like more, maybe like the question should be like, what does accessibility justice, or like, what the heck was that? Or like disability justice or accessibility justice mean to you? To me, like, it means a variety of things. As a disabled person, it means so many different things. It's beyond just like the basic accommodations, but also like the general understanding and the inclusivity in public spaces. I really want to talk more about, like, I think like in the stream, if I could stream tomorrow, I will definitely stream about public spaces and why we also need disabled persons, like accessible public spaces, accessible third spaces that is low cost, and affordable and accessible for people to use. I feel like even though like in many cities in North America are considered winter city, yet they are not being designed for the winter. And that's the sad part. That's like the terrible part about North American cities. Many North American cities that like it's promoted as winter cities, yet there are no accessible third spaces. But yeah, I will save that for the live stream tomorrow, if I could live stream tomorrow. Again, like I'm just trying to do this right now because I currently don't have a job, so I just have more time to do kind of like talks like this. And yeah, I also like need, yeah. Yeah, we need like proper paratransit services. Like I know in many cities have paratransit services that you have to sign up for. Oh no. Yeah, you have to sign up for paratransit services in many cities. And you have to have like papers documenting that like you actually have a disability before you are allowed to use that service. Sole passenger on the bus. He's enjoying a private chauffeur. Wait, I think like one topic that I did not mention tonight in this whole talk show, in this why did I use the word talk show? It's not even a talk show. I think a whole topic that I did not mention is racial profiling. Yeah, it's a huge issue. It's not just targeting black communities right now, but also Latinos, indigenous peoples, Asian communities, and it's terrible. And this usually goes with the stereotypes and discrimination as well. So I think like one questions that we need to ask as urban planners is how do we ensure that like what the work that we do, the projects that we have, and the cities, the communities that we're building don't have such negativity, don't have such exclusivity. I don't have a question. I don't have an answer for that right now, but I would generally appreciate any input or like any resources that you could recommend. Currently, I'm reading a book called Policing Black Lives. There's a free PDF version of that book online that you can look for. It's a really good one talking about racial profiling. Yeah, I agree. Paratransit is definitely like a useful features, and not just that, but also like on-demand transit, like demand-based transit services. Uh, I know in the city of Edmonton, where I live, um, they do have on-demand transit service serving senior homes as a feeder services.
What a nice day.
It's like a complimentary services for senior residents, and I think that's generally a very good idea. It's like an additional service on top of the conventional bus routes. Oh yeah, Riverbank. It's okay if you don't know. It's what matters that like you will learn. Yeah, what's matters that it is we have to learn, and we have to constantly educate ourselves on these topics. Like, you see, I hope that this might not turn into a beef, but a lot of urbanist content creator, um, especially the mainstream ones, they totally like ignore this. Like, I got a feeling that like they only talk about these topics about urban planning just simply because it affects them, and not because it affects when meanwhile like such issues have been affecting marginalized communities for generations, and simply like um, marginalized folks don't have somebody who stand up for them on these issues. So that's why I feel like it's gatekeeping. I don't know. Yeah, like it does take time to learn about these, and it does take time to find the right resource as well. But generally, I do suggest, like earlier in the stream, I suggest learning from black creators, learn from um, black communities and marginalized communities, because they know the best. They uphold like the most truest experience. About that. Yeah, so yeah, it's true. And I honestly like I hope that like the point that I'm saying today in uh this conversation that we're having will not be, it's kind of like surprising, not surprising, it's kind of disappointing to see that like some folks will hear some of these and think that it's a hard pill to swallow, but unfortunately there's still a lot of gatekeeping in our journey, in our advocacy for better cities. And so that's why like I said in the beginning of the stream about upholding the most marginalized voices in your community. Well, I think like the idea of like having conventional transit and also like on-demand transit like together. I think like when on-demand transit serves as a supplemental service for like senior residents per se, uh, then like the on-demand transit can still like be used by um, yeah, it can still be used by those who like don't need that on-demand service. Yeah, like on-demand is more like for the people who need the accessibility requirements. I should not be doing this, but I feel like live streaming like this is actually really um, fun. Like it opens like spaces for live conversations. It's almost like I'm creating a third space online for we all to chat, and it's pretty much free. Um, we can be here and chat together, especially like, with given like why like how our third spaces are being ruined and disappearing every day. But yeah, if tomorrow I can get on the stream, I will definitely talk about third spaces, public spaces, and how do we include disability justice on that. I just really hope that like when I do stream like this, I don't run out of topics, because every stream I want to incorporate a topic of something on to talk about. And yeah, like having certain types of certain topics really gives into the idea of it really allows me to like express the ideas in kind of like the most authentic way that the Northern Transit persona is. And I feel glad about that. Oh yeah, I think like rural transit is really important as well. I think it just we don't talk about rural transit enough, given that like it's it's almost like everybody who takes transit are mostly live in urban areas. But yeah, rural transit also exists. Rural transit demands also exist. And I think like and this is where like the accessibility justice also weighs in, because for a lot of people in rural communities, like transit is more than just moving around. It's also for like accessing healthcare, um, school education, for in Canada, it also like for visiting family members, especially like if people, especially for indigenous peoples, when they need to visit their community, their family members in their communities or like in their reserves. Yeah, there used to be very dense rural public transit in many Canadian regions. However, like they all have been scrapped in the recent years, which is very sad. I think like it circles back to the idea about like the economy versus social capital, like economic capital versus social capital. Yeah, and it basically rolls back to the idea of like public transit services, like these public services should not be for profit, should not be about the economy, but rather about like the well-being of the population. And once we ensure the well-being for the population, and that's where we can ensure the well-being for the community.
Oh no! Fell asleep.
Yeah, like I've seen that with like urban areas. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. It really hurts them. Like imagine if you have a broken leg per se, or like you have any health issues and like your town does not have a clinic, the nearest health service is like 20 miles away for you, and you don't have a car. Like you are really, yeah, you are really stuck. It's really messed up. It's and yeah, like again, that's why we need like reliable rural transit service as well. um I think like this might just be a Canadian thing, but many rural communities, they also deliver. They also use their transit services to deliver parcels and mails, which is a really interesting concept to me. Like postal services can only reach so far, and like sending larger parcels, they use the rural transit services. I actually just took a class about rural sociology recently, and I think like I do have a lot of things that I want to say about that. But in the context of like transportation and urban planning, and it's really important that we highlight these.
Very punctual. Thank you.
Ooh, I have not heard of that model before, but it would be cool. Like, I know a lot of rural regions across Europe, they have trains coming every hour during the day.
So I think I'll go.
Single ticket, please.
And yeah, like there's also like in British Columbia, there's a rail service that runs between Jasper, Prince George, and Prince Rupert. That's a very rural rail services. That's a very rural based rail service. It serves like a lot of rural communities across the train track. Lots of like fishermen, actually. Lots of fishermen, they rely on these train services. They go fishing, and then they come back using the train. So I think it's a good idea. That we can have for this. Yeah, pulse bus feeders. We have a lot of things to learn from Switzerland on that, actually.
As a kid, I used to go everywhere on foot. Nowadays, I'd rather take the bus. Did I buy a ticket?
Hello. I think you're new here. Well, welcome. Wait, oh my god. Yeah, I've just... Good, how about you, Aptin? I'm sure New Zealand can learn a lot from... Yeah, largely the reason... And I think, like, in terms of population, Switzerland and New Zealand might be similar in your population as well. Let me look this up. Hang on. Because, like, yeah, the point about Houston and Hong Kong yesterday, kind of like, and I just looked up the population of Houston today, just at 2.3 million compared to Hong Kong being 7 million. But I think the population density might be the same. But I have a feeling like New Zealand and Switzerland, they have a very good, they have a very similar regional, similar population, and even maybe similar population density as well. Let's do a quick math, shall we? And yeah, this is the documentary that I was recommending y'all. Please, if you have time, please watch it. But let's search up New Zealand population. Yeah, 5.2 million. I should not be just relying on the stats. Well, let's assume that it's 5.3. Oh, this is like the actual website from the New Zealand government, I think. Okay. So, currently 5.3 million. That's from the Switzerland population. Wait, the metro area of Houston is that big? Yeah, so slightly similar, 8.85 million. Yeah, 8.8, yeah. And this is like the actual website of the Swiss government. Vital statistics. Okay, let me take a look on the map, cause I feel like I've always been underestimating the metro area of Houston. Cause yeah, like this is the inner city. It's so sad to look at this transit map though. Like you have one line, you have two lines like this running within the urban, like this, the inner city. But look at the metro area, like it feels so depressing. Like, can we slap some regional rails in here? And like this is actually like, yeah, so gatekeeping, so yeah, like nobody living in these areas will be able to get around using public transit. Damn. Ah. Yeah, like these areas are still the Houston metro area. But like let's say if I type on Houston, yeah, like this is the limit for the city of Houston, right? Like the inner city area, right? Or Houston metropolitan area. Greater, oh okay, so it's like Toronto with the greater Toronto area. Greater, it's huge. It even like expands to the south too, not just to the north. Oh wow. This is crazy. This is batshit crazy. Oh yeah. So Houston, Pasadena. Oh, that's like you have the city of Houston, but you have Houston, Pasadena, and then Huntsville, El Campo, Bay City, and Brenham. Okay, that's a lot. That's actually a lot. Yeah, 7 million. Holy. I mean, this is like another example of Texas being Texas, right? Like, wow. I am mind blown today. Oh yeah, cause like over here to the south, there's like a couple of communities too. Man, imagine trying to build this in City Skylines. You will like reach the road limit by the time you finish building the city of Houston. Maybe I should do a live stream of me playing City Skylines. Yeah, me too. Like this is I feel like yeah, today's like the first time that I ever see how big it is. That metro area, it just crazily huge. Yeah, definitely. And like and again, like when I look at the map and there's like only that 3 transit lines, like this is the transit map of Houston. It's so depressing. It just actually like it makes me feel I don't know how I should feel about this, like, and it's not even like um it's not even like a subway or like a heavy rail network. It's just a light rail network. Yeah, and then like how a city is designed like directly affects your mental health too. I just never. Oh my god, look at this. Is this the station for the rodeo stadium? Like I know that there's like a rodeo facility that they have like so like in Canada we have the Calgary Stampede, which is like a fair, kind of like the cowboy fair, and I assume that Houston has something similar. But is this just the parking lot for it? Smithlands parking. Man, it's actually crazy. You know, like I do want to talk about like the upcoming 2026 World Cup that is happening in America, and there's just like so many problems with it. I personally feel like at this point I'm not in the mood to support any major sports. Holy shit! Look at the stadium. Look at the parking lot around it. I feel like the parking lots around this stadium, it just like takes up like 5 times, at least 5 times more than the land of the stadium itself. How is this allowed? How is this allowed? Seriously, how is this allowed? I'm just gonna go have a a little touch grass moment. Okay, I am back. I feel like that's I feel like that single thing about that parking lot in Houston makes me want to touch grass for like days and days and days, because it just batshit crazy. It just batshit crazy that something like that was actually built in this world. Oh no.
I hope it's sunny tomorrow. I'd like to go shopping and visit the cafe.
Be right back. Gonna have a touch grass moment. Also, like, I was feeling slightly congested on my nose, so I had to go and like I just like poured some Otrivin into my nostril, and it's feeling like so bitter and sour in my nostrils right now. So my voice sounds a little distorted. This is the reason why. Yep, like land of the free, land of the free. You can drive you can drive all you want and find, you have the freedom to choose the parking spot that you want as well. Because car is freedom. And I think like, I feel like, yeah, I know that like some of the worst urban planning examples are found in Florida, like the goddamn Sunshine State. But also, but also like in Texas as well.
Hey.
You want to enjoy the ride or rather drive yourself?
So I'm driving a different bus for this ride now. It's a CNG bus. I really enjoyed the... Oh yeah. Texas and Florida, most populous. I think like... Yeah, aside from California and the Northeast Corridor, then yeah, Texas and I think there's can somebody like loop me in on like with like a chart of the most of the population of each U.S. state? Yeah, ranked by population. U.S. state ranked by population. All I know is that like The state of California had more population than the entire country of Canada. Well, at least Florida did something right with the Bright Line train. I think it's not so right, considering that there's like so many accidents with it happening just because of first, people being dumb, second, the design being very human. The design is very human. Yeah, like
I was so sad when passion ended last year. But then spring of affection came along.
yeah, like the trains usually have at-grade crossing, which resulted in so many crashes already.
He said he wanted to tell me what he's working on.
And like, I feel like all the drivers should be aware that like they cannot outrun a train. I had to ask this question the other day when so there were like so many ambulances. Like my my walk to my campus has it's en route. You have to cross a major street leading to a hospital, and a lot of times you see like hospitals with ambulances with like amber warnings, like they are running towards the hospital or like running to rescue people. And there are like many people just like casually cross the street like on foot, and I was like, do you guys like, damn, you guys really have, you guys like really fear nothing. Like it's just crazy. It's and then like the idea of like trying to outrun an emergency vehicle, it's also like maddening. Like you cannot outrun it.
There are a lot of good bookstores, but my favorite has got to be Storyteller.
Also, tomorrow is Valentine's. Please spread the love. I think like Valentine has been like really overrated by romantic love. So, I mean, while we're still on the theme of community building,
I hope the next stop comes
go
along
support a
soon.
local business tomorrow if you can. That's how you spread the love for the community. And I love you all. I thank you all for coming in to my streams, like, and thank you all for supporting my videos. I am releasing a new video next Friday actually, so stay tuned. The shorts are still coming out tomorrow. I know that like now I don't have a job, so it's easier for me to create content, which is nice, but also a little depressing because like used to have an income, but now I don't. Like what I make on YouTube so far is not reliable for me to live comfortably without one yet. So yeah, but thank you all so much for the support. I have a donation link there if you want to chip in any amount. Oh, thank you, Abe. I'm just here talking with my fellow transit nerds tonight. But yeah, back to the idea about Valentine's Day. Go support a local business tomorrow. And yeah, or like ask your partner to go support a local community tomorrow. Would be amazing to see that. Like if I could go live tomorrow, yeah, I would love to talk about third spaces. So if you want to come and talk about that on a Friday night, go ahead. I might play another game tomorrow that is related to public spaces. Not sure what that is. Might be City Skylines, might be Stardew Valley, might be there's this game that I have had on my library for a while called Planet Zoo, where you build a zoo. But I have things to talk about zoos as well that I want to spare tomorrow to talk about it. Oh my gosh, thank you, Aptin. Thank you so much for the donation. That's amazing. Yeah, I love Planet Zoo. It's a really cool game. Design the zoos. I also have another game called Parkitect, where you design a park, but it's mostly about theme park. And I know that like in the context of urban planning, there's not just theme parks and exhibition parks like that. We also have like inclusive and accessible parks as well. And I did make a video about this, damn, 2 years ago already. I can't believe that like this channel has gone this far. When I created this channel, when I was in my second year of university, right? Yeah, it was purely just about like yapping about urban planning, almost. But now it has gone so far to the point that I do have supporters like this. Oh, nice. Yeah, I love that. And I also love like botanical garden as well. We just need like more of them in here. I feel like since we are humans, which is like we are also a creature, any moments that we get to spend with nature heals us, revives us. Yeah. But thank you again for the donation, Aptin. Thanks for tuning in. I just went to visit your channel. Like, I got visited by a big channel. That's amazing. Awesome. Sweet. And yeah, thanks for all the patience with me with streaming. Like, I know it's very new. It's something very new that I'm doing recently. But I really love these kinds of conversations like these. I have a lot of video ideas on my script document, and it's a lot of times I look at them and I was like, oh my god, I feel so bad that I cannot execute these ideas. I cannot write down these I cannot make videos from these ideas that I have written down. So but now I feel like a live stream like this express them all out, which is really amazing. Also, like, I think for tomorrow I will talk about community gardens as well. I think community gardens is just like a criminally underrated third space. I used to not be that much into gardening, but like after like seeing what's the situations happening in the world, I was like, damn, I feel like it's time to like learn to self-sustain myself. And I would try to sign up for a community garden if I can this year. Oh, I would love to. Guerrilla gardening. Yeah, that would be amazing. I think like it's also a good way, and I think like we can definitely choose the types of plants to for guerrilla gardening. I might focus on flowers because it can be a form of public art and public like it can create spaces for people to appreciate the nature and appreciate the space, like the public spaces. Yeah, that is definitely like something on my, oh my god, oops, I actually hit a pedestrian. But yeah, like it's definitely something on my radar. I would love to see. Yeah, like, and I think like community garden is just but back to the story of community gardens, it's also a really good way to, yeah, to educate people around you. I have had a lot of those experience, and I think like I learned to forage from community garden as well. I think like it's merely from a conversation that I had with another person in the community garden. And they were talking about like so there were some weeds growing around, and they talk about how some weeds are actually like vegetables in their culture, depending on the types of weeds, which is really interesting as well. So yeah, you learn to both forage, but also you learn to but you also learn to learn about different cultures and history, and yeah, and traditional food in there. I might do like this final round of driving this route. That means that like I have 4 more bus stops over there. Yeah, before heading back to that like first stop of this route that I'm driving, and then it might be the end for the stream tonight. I've been like, yeah, this has been a significantly longer one compared to yesterday, and I love seeing all of your faces, not your faces, but yeah, your names popping up in the chat. Thanks for all the contribution. I know I put a lot of effort on my YouTube videos, and I'm finally feeling the support after like 3 years of being on this. 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 But yeah, I learned something new from the stream tonight about Houston. Houston basically it just yeah, it just after like all those like Google Maps and like learning about after learning about Houston on about like the metro area of Houston and the respective mass transit map of the city, I was like, oh wow. Oh, thank you. Yeah, thanks for coming in. Thanks for tuning in tonight. Oh my god. I'm looking into it, like, I hope to. It's, yeah, like, I do want to, like, roll back to, like, the classic, like, motives that I created, to why I created this channel 3 years ago, of, like, traveling to communities, and exploring and, like, documenting it. So, yeah. We'll see what happens in the future. But I might focus more on like the history of communities now.
Is it too stormy to go sailing, or is it
May I
just
have a
right?
ticket, please?
Sometimes I feel like simulation games like these are really fun. Like, it actually like gives you a... It puts you on the shoes of the people who do these jobs. And then like... I also like have this game on realistic mode. So... the experience, yeah, it sometimes, yeah, it makes me, it really helps me build the empathy too. Oh yeah, it is. It's really calming. I think like another reason why it's so calming as well is that like you can customize the schedule of these buses so that it's not too time crunch for you. It's not too tight in schedule for you. Like for example, like I'm gonna have like 2 minutes at my next stop before I have to depart, and that is 2 real life minutes.
May I have a ticket, please?
I just realized that like this game mostly, I think like this game really, from the sessions from yesterday to today, I think like one very key thing that we can learn about this game is that it really teaches us about transit equity for senior residents, because you see a lot of residents, yeah, like on the bus right now you can physically see that there's a lot of senior residents, but also like via the ticketing, like if you notice, like I did earlier, then a lot of tickets were sold were also senior tickets as well. And elderly people should not have to drive to their needs. It's also pretty dangerous for them. It's they might not be cautious enough, or like what do you say? What's that word? Like their brain might not be like reflective enough, yeah, anymore to traffic situations, and they might also even like forget traffic regulations, which drive them into situations of like being unsafe. So yeah, like it's really much a necessity that every city, and again it rolls back to the idea of planning cities, planning communities for the most marginalized folks. Because like if marginalized folks aren't able to use the infrastructures that we're working on, then what are we really doing? And senior residents, elderly people are kind of yeah, they belong to this group as well. I think like if I have like another chance in the future, I would talk about aging in places and talking about Chinatowns. Like a lot of elderly people live in Chinatowns, like especially elderly Asian people. They live in Chinatown, and a lot of them, yeah, many of them have to live in conditions that is not so good, to say the least. And also like with elderly Asians folks, they might not know oh, there's a sleeping passenger. They might not have the language capacity to like participate in a highly Caucasian society. So yeah, like I will spend a life to talk about aging in places. Yeah, like I will like wait for YouTube to process this live video and repost that on my main channel. I'm debating if I should keep it as like members only, because I do need to survive. But I think, yeah, no, I should keep it like accessible for all of you. But I will have to coordinate that in a way that it's not conflicting with the schedules of my regular videos that I'm releasing. So it could take like 1 to 2 weeks for all of these. Alright, the bus has reached the last stop. And that also means this stream is coming to an end. Well, thank you so much for coming. Thank you again, Aptin, for your donation. It's been a really good night. We have some really good conversation about Black history, the segregation in planning, rural communities, and again, accessibility justice. I hope that like it will grow soon eventually, and hope to see you tomorrow. We're gonna talk about public spaces and third spaces, but if not, I'll do a live stream on Saturday. Okay, bye bye.